question for now about this move is, what does it mean for the immediate future, and what does it mean for the days ahead? For more on that, let's head to the MASN broadcast booth and welcome in Amber.
Well, Jim, when it became obvious Luke Scott was going on the DL and Felix P.A. was still about 4 days away from being activated, we knew there had to be a roster move, somebody to come fill Luke's spot for about 4 days. When we found out today that was Josh Bell, the Orioles' top third base prospect, reporters were scratching their heads a little bit. It's not every day that a team will call up one of their big prospects to make his major league debut only for 4 days and then go back down. But when we talked to Andy MacPhail a little more about it, he shed some light on the subject. Obviously, the Orioles needed a bat to fill Luke's spot, and right now Josh Bell was hot down in AAA in the last 10 games. He's batted .302. He's had 11 RBIs, but it didn't make sense. MacPhail had said he wanted Josh Bell probably to stay down in AAA all year, but it came down to a matter of the Orioles not having a lot of options on their 40-man roster.
We wanted a guy that was on the 40-man, in essence, we could option back and forth. And in essence, you're dealing with primarily losing your DH, so you could just go down and reach any bat you wanted. Josh had 2 home runs the other day, one being a grand slam, was swinging the bat pretty well. It just seemed like the natural thing to do. We tried to explain to Josh that it's, don't buy a house here yet. This isn't, necessarily going to be a permanent assignment because Felix is not that far behind you.
Andy MacPhail had said that coming out of spring training, they knew that AAA would be the next step for you and that they expected you to have your ups and downs in AAA. Started out a little slow there, but what has really clicked for you in the last 10 days?
I'd probably say patience. The most thing is, trying not to hit everything and kind of be a little bit more selective. And at the same time being aggressive and making sure that I'm not, just trying to not be too picky, but,
Is it tough to do? Is it tough to do that when you're also focusing on both sides of the plate? I know that focusing on the right side has been an area for you.
Not as much this year. We had early on there wasn't that many left-handers, but this season went on. Different teams they had a lot more lefties, so I got comfortable, especially the last couple of games against lefties. I felt really good.
So the switch hitter started out slow in Norfolk, but has come along in the past couple of games. Here are his season averages in Norfolk: .266 batting average, 10 home runs, and 44 RBIs. So Josh Bell uphill here for a couple days. Hey, Juan Samuel said, who knows, if he goes 4 for 4, 2 or 3 days in a row, maybe he can increase his chances of staying. But as Andy MacPhail said, it's pretty clear that he really is that stopgap in between Luke Scott going on the DL and Felix P.A. being activated around the Detroit series, which is the second leg of this road trip the Orioles are about to go on. Jim?
Amber, you made a real good point about Josh Bell being the person to replace Luke Scott. I think everybody knew last night that Luke was heading for the DL because he himself said that he thought the hamstring was a DL injury. But when a guy comes up who is a top prospect at a specific position, all of a sudden now everybody's thinking, wait a minute, is there something bigger here? Trade rumors? What else are you hearing about this move?
Of course, today when we heard that, everybody started speculating. Is Miguel Tejada being shopped around? Is Josh Bell being shopped around? Because why would he be coming up? Why would the Orioles want to see him play this close to coming up to the deadline? And really all those questions were answered by the fact that Andy MacPhail said, if you take a look at that 40-man roster, they needed a bat, and Brandon Snyder, Ryan Hughes, they weren't available. Nolan Reimel not available to come up, so it came down to a lack of options. So this might not have been the Orioles' first choice, but it seemed to be their only choice, and Andy MacPhail made it very clear, I do not have a trade on the horizon. This move was made just to fill Luke's roster spot. It wasn't made to shop anybody around, and he wanted to make that very clear today. So Josh Bell just coming up to fill a roster spot and get a taste of the big leagues, and is expected to only be here a couple days. Jim?